So last week I got the crazy idea that it'd be fun to live up in Big Bear for the summer with some friends of mine in a big log cabin house. So I decided to do a little research on the market up there and see what I could find out. This video is going to walk through my basic process that I use when I want to get a feel for a new real estate market that I'm not familiar with. First, we're going to hop on Zillow, and I'm going to show you how to set up a basic Zillow search with some criteria that might be important if you're looking to buy in a specific market. And then I'm going to show how I built my Google Sheets template that allows me to keep track of all the information I'm collecting and compare and contrast between different properties and ultimately get a sense for what you might want to pay for different properties in a given market. Let's jump right in. So what you're going to want to do first is open up Zillow and navigate to the city that you're interested in purchasing property in. In this case, you can see that Zillow draws a boundary around where they think the city is, but I guess that's the legal city of Big Bear City. But in this case, the stuff that we're actually interested in is the Snow Summit Ski Resort and the Big Bear Ski Resort right over there, and the downtown area and the lakeshore. So we're going to redraw our own boundary of where we might be interested in picking up some property. So we're just going to apply that. And now it's time to pick some criteria. So right now we're looking at properties that are for sale, and we're just going to want to deselect some of these options that either represent new construction, which I'm usually looking for a deal, so that's not something that I'd be interested in. And then auctions and foreclosures generally have restrictions on financing and require you to be a cash buyer. So we're going to deselect some of those options as well to simplify our search. Next, we're going to want to pop open the menu here that allows us to narrow down the home types. And in this case, I would be interested in buying a single family home or multifamily, which could be duplex or fourplex, and then apartments, which are generally anything over a fourplex. Townhomes could work as well, although generally trying to avoid HOA fees, so that's going to eliminate a lot of them. Looking for properties only 1,500 square feet and up, because I do want to live with some buddies, and eventually potentially turn the property into a vacation rental, so a little bit more space is going to be useful. The last thing, actually, before we move on that I'm going to select on this tab, though, is the number of days on Zillow, as we do want to eliminate super stale listings that sometimes there's just garbage that doesn't get properly removed, and also there's just properties listed for way above market value that people just leave listed forever even though they're not selling. Now it's time to look through some properties. In this case, I'm going to set some filters on beds and baths because I don't want to share a bedroom or a bathroom, so I need at least another one of each of those for my potential buddies who'd be living with me. And now we can sort the list from low to high in terms of price and start working our way down. Generally, early on in the process of learning a new market, I'm going to spend a bit more time flipping through the listings and seeing the pictures and getting a feel for just the quality of fixtures and, if a $360,000 starter home in this market, it has been remodeled. In this case, we can see that at that price point, there's not that much remodeling that's been done. And so that's informative and starts to give you a sense of what you should expect for different price ranges in the market. Once you have your basic sense of the market, it's time to start collecting data and loading it into a spreadsheet so that you can analyze different opportunities in comparison to each other and just get some quantifiable and comparable data going on the market. So this template is available in a link in the description, and this is what I built for this particular project. And now essentially we're going to collect this information from each listing and fill out the rows. And at the end of the day, what we're going to have is a good way to compare how affordable different properties are in comparison to each other and a sense of how much those properties have appreciated in recent years price-wise. So looking at another property here, we're just going to start working through the Zillow listing and filling in the information. So asking price is just how much the owner is asking for the house. The last sale is the price that the home sold for last, which you can find in the price and tax history section usually of Zillow. And then I'm just going to enter the year, and this property sold in the middle of 1997, so we'll put 1997.6. Now, this formula here is the compounded annual growth rate formula. You can look that up online if you want to understand the math, but essentially it shows you how much the property would have needed to appreciate each year in between 1997 to rise from its prior sale price of $120,000 up to the current asking price of $360,000. Next, we're going to fill out the number of rooms that the property has and the square feet. And then we're just going to copy down this formula, which is price divided by square feet, to give us the sense of how much the property costs per square foot, which is can be a handy comparison metric. Then I like to copy in the address and hyperlink it back to the Zillow page so that when I return to the spreadsheet, I can easily jump into the listing. Zillow has this nice feature here where you can enter a couple addresses and it'll give you your commute time. So in this case, I put in the time it would take to drive to the resort and the time it would take to drive to downtown. Finally, we're going to put in the year the property was built and any additional commentary that I want to put in about the property if I looked through the listing, just to jog my memory at a later date. So now we're just going to jump ahead a bit since I've already done all this research. And here I've captured a bunch of properties that looked interesting to me. And on line 14, I have an example property that in this case would be the property that you've identified that you're potentially interested in. So in this case, it's this beautiful log cabin duplex property, which is quite near the ski lifts and very close to downtown as well. So now at this point, what we want to do is look through all the information we've collected and try to get a sense of what a fair market price might be for this property. So popping back into the spreadsheet, we can see that I have this tab here called Recently Sold. And in order to build this, I followed the exact same process that I used to gather the for sale data, except instead of filtering for properties that are for sale, I filtered for recently sold. And if you look in column B, you can see that all of these properties were sold in the last 3 months. Given the current situation with COVID, prices have been impacted. And so I wanted to look at recent transactions. Now, these 3 lines that I've highlighted in green are properties that are rough comparators to the property in question. And so these provide some opportunity to analyze the similarities and differences in terms of quality of fit and finish of the property, as well as the year built and size, layout, bedrooms, etc., and give you some properties that you can potentially compare on a price per square foot basis when trying to make your offer. So this has just been a very brief overview. There's a lot of additional research that you can do, of course, to learn about a market, including talking to local realtors and investors and lenders to learn more about recent trends, common issues with properties in that area. Of course, just getting out in the neighborhood, walking it, and getting a sense for what life is like there. This is a good way to get a basic introduction to the recent pricing trends, the situation of quality of property you're going to get in different price ranges, and just generally orient yourself to a market. So hope this was helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please drop them down below and I'll make sure to get back to you. Have a great day.